You look at the type of shots you've been getting the last 2 days. You happy with them? Could they be better, or pretty satisfied?
I feel pretty good with the looks that we've gotten and generated. There's always possessions in games where you'd like to have a shot or a possession back, but I think for the most part they've done a good job. I thought our offense was much better coming out of the Utah game, going into the Minnesota game. So I think for the most part, I feel like we've gotten pretty good looks.
Hey, Billy, how's Terrence?
He's fine. He's cleared to play.
Billy, when you look at the tape of what Domas and what Victor have done in the first few games, what are you seeing that's going on differently than what they were doing when they were here last season?
Well, I think for Domas, playing the center spots helped him. I think, excuse me, the fact that, at that center spot, he can pick, he can pop, he can roll, he can do a lot of different things there. He, I think, will be able to take advantage of those things, his skill set from that position. I think with Victor, I think the biggest thing that he's done, just the amount of time I spent with him before the whole trade and everything happened, was his commitment this offseason. He's done a great job taking care of himself physically. He's lost a lot of weight. He's gotten himself in incredible shape. I think the experience that he went through last year really helped him. Certainly he's a focal point on their team right now offensively in terms of really as fast as they're playing and the condition he's in. I think he's really capitalized on that.
Billy, you've talked about it a lot. I mean, Vic has posted his Instagrams and all that about just kind of the way that he's transformed his body over the last 4 months or whatever it's been. Do you know what triggered that with him? I mean, was there something last year where he felt like, okay, I'm in good shape, but I need to get better? Do you know where that came from?
Well, I mean, again, in my conversations with him, because I had a chance to see him in high school, and I had a chance to see him, obviously, in college. And even with him being drafted in Orlando, I had a chance to see him. I always felt like his greatest strength, his greatest quality was his motor and his energy. He got, in fairness to him, he had some injuries last year with his wrist, maybe his hamstring, I'm not sure, but he missed some time. And I think in missing time, probably his conditioning suffered a little bit. And I don't know if I had any influence on it or anything, or it was just him evaluating just where he's at in his career. But one of the things I always talked to him about going into the off-season was having a great off-season in terms of the conditioning part. And he started on that right away. He did all the work. He deserves all the credit. But clearly, I think he wanted to get back to having a motor. I think it's hard for a player like him because he worked so hard to become a good shooter and a good ball handler, and that was never his game. His game in high school was this power forward with incredible motor who used his speed, quickness, and athleticism. He could pass, he had a good feel of how to play, but he was an undersized power forward. And I think through a lot of hard work in high school, a lot of hard work in college, he developed the ability to score. Then he's the second player taken in the draft, and right from day one, he got an opportunity to play. So I think he's gained an enormous amount of experience, he's learned a lot, and he's probably figured out what he needs to do to become the player he wants to become. But he's very driven and motivated to be the best he can be, and I always have respected that about him.
Well, you guys, obviously, because of the situation, you needed to play Domas at the 4. Did you see it coming, ultimately, that he was going to be a 5, the way the game was going?
I felt like he'd be better there, personally. I think that there was a time, maybe it was like the last, if you look back, the last game, I think maybe it was against Minnesota, we rested some guys, and we played him some, I think, at the center spot. I always felt like that was going to be his best position, just because he could stretch it, he could handle, he could pass it. He would probably be playing against people speed-wise that would be similar to him. Domas is a very, very good defender, but it's also, I think, a lot different when you're playing against power forwards in relationships to centers offensively. And I always felt like his best advantage was going to be at the center spot.
Billy, Steven looks like he's playing great first 3 games. Is he giving you exactly what you want out of that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's done a really great job defensively. I think he's anchored our defense. He's created a great presence there. I do think there's opportunities for him on rolls to the basket offensively to be a little bit more of a factor. He's so conscientious about trying to screen. I think getting out of screens and getting down the lane would be important for him. But he's done a really good job, and I think credit Steve, and I also think he had a great summer as well. Like, he really put a lot of time and effort into the summer, and Steve has always been a team guy, and I think in being a team guy, I think he realizes he can really make the greatest impact on the defensive end of the floor. But his effort, his energy, what he's done has really been exceptional. He was really throughout training camp and preseason, these first 3 games.
Anybody else? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.